What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. It is Monday. Well, for you, it's Monday. For me, it's still Sunday evening. And boy, what a weekend this has been. Last night, no, not last night. Was it last night? I can't even remember now. This weekend has run together so hard. Basically, I watched the flash crash in real time. And I knew so many people were going to freak out about that. And we're going to look at some things in a minute here, but I mean, ultimately what I wanted to basically point out, and I'm going to cover some really cool, interesting stuff in this video tonight, or today. I mean, you're going to be seeing this live with me as a premiere at 1 p.m. Monday. But listen, we've seen countless times flash crashes, 30, 40%. I think there were 5 or 6 flash crashes in the last bull market in 2017. For a lot of the newcomers, they see it and they completely wig out and they sell everything at a loss. I was watching, I was just kind of lurking in a big Telegram community, just looking at all the comments, watching everybody. Just the end is here, the end is near. Oh my gosh, Christmas is gonna suck. I just bought in last week for the first time. I'm getting wrecked. I mean, all of it, and I'm just thinking. And the chat was moving so fast. I would love to have just been like, listen, calm down. It's okay. We've seen this time and time again. I got into crypto in 2017. I watched all this stuff happen. And I've been through all of this now, pretty much full circle at this point. And it sucks. It sucks to see. And it definitely is a little disconcerting because you're kind of wondering, is this it? What's happening? Is it coming back? So, couple of quick things before I get too deep into the video today. Number one, I picked this up, Ready Player 2. I'm considering this market research. So I'm definitely looking forward to diving into this. Honestly, I like to read in the bathtub. So this is going to be the bathtub book, and I'm wearing my reading glasses. So, and then you see Twisted Times behind me. I have decided that I'm going to be working on the treasure chest, the treasure hunt that I had originally planned on establishing with this. A part of why I decided so at first I'm like, I'm going to do this series and I'm going to do a treasure hunt with it. It's going to be very complicated. Every card is going to unlock a clue. Once all the clues are figured out, it'll unlock a seed phrase, a seed key to a wallet where royalties from this NFT series is going to basically be deposited. And so if as people are buying it and selling it and swapping it and all that other stuff, royalties are just going to go into a big pot. I'm not even going to get any of it because, quite frankly, I'm going to try and price the card so that I at least kind of break even, maybe make a little profit for the time and effort. But this is also going to be kind of the flagship series for what I have coming in the future. So consider it a lost leader, if you will. And if it does really well and the puzzles and ciphers and things I come up with really challenge people and drive a lot of community involvement, I just think it'll be a good time for people. And on top of that, I've got a little time before my Cardano marketplace, my NFT marketplace launches. So I'm going to put that time to use and I'm going to really buckle down on this. So know that that's coming and I'm going to do it as originally intended. Now, Bitcoin. Ooh, baby. Look at this. So you're basically seeing the price has recovered a bit, 49,155, but we wicked all the way down to like $41,000 yesterday. Actually, no, this was, what night was this? This was the 4th. Okay. Yeah, it was yesterday. And it was not fun to watch because I was just watching this thing drop like Building 7. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. There wasn't really much explanation other than people were really, I think a lot of this has to do with just liquidating longs. I mean, there are a lot of people who are getting super cocky, and there are a lot of people, a lot of whales. And keep in mind too, I don't know if we were filling a CME gap or not. We could have been. I hadn't even looked at that. I don't really even much care. It's been a little frustrating, but I also believe that some of this is kind of it's liquidating leverage traders to a large degree, but on top of that, I think some people were probably cashing out. They're doing all of the wishy-washy stuff with the crypto before the end of this tax year, and I think that's a big to do. I think that's a lot to do with it. I'm not doing it because I just, you guys know me. I'm super risk averse outside of just like I'm in crypto. That's risky enough for me. I'm not trying to push anybody's buttons. I'm not trying to do anything wrong. I don't want to draw attention. I just want to live my life and be left the hell alone. And, I feel like people that are trying to do a lot of this wishy-washy stuff with their crypto trading, I know there aren't technically any laws against some of that stuff, but it's just a matter of time. And I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's worth the effort to me personally. And quite frankly, a lot of the people that are doing this are the people that can control and move the market in such a way. But we did wick all the way down here into 41,000 and about 42,000. And then we pulled right back up. Now, what have I said before that I've proven has also been correct? Generally, when we see such a substantial wick, it gets filled. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen because we've got some pretty strong support. And so we'll see if we break down through this support. But it looks like it's trying to. It's definitely working on it. Cardano, listen, we wicked all the way down here to $1.09. We wicked to $1.09. Very painful. Very, very painful. We broke through all of this. And to be quite honest with you, I know that Cardano primarily does its own thing. Cardano is known to pump dramatically when nothing else is moving. But it's also known to do this, sit stagnant or even go down when other things are moving up. I don't know if whale traders use Cardano as a blow off top profit center once they're done doing everything else they're doing, because I think that the overall sentiment in Cardano right now, especially amongst whale traders and a lot of people, is the supply is pretty high. The use case hasn't been established yet ultimately because we're waiting for DeFi to kick off. I'm personally waiting with open arms for Sunday Swap and some others, which I'm going to be covering in the future. And I think that until we start seeing that use case, even though transactional volume on Cardano is really high, it's not, there's no FOMO there. There's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of I've got to keep these coins, because it's kind of a long-term, it's been a long-term investment since 2017. It's done out insanely well. But I think now I think some of the money, until we start seeing DeFi really take off, I'm waiting for the DeFi era for Cardano. Once that happens, we're going to see a huge boom of all sorts of activity. And I think that's when Cardano is really going to shine. Luckily, it looks like we're looking at a June 2022 peak of the bull market, which means there's ultimately plenty of time. There's a very good chance that Ethereum could potentially even flip Bitcoin in market cap, which makes it really difficult for Cardano to catch up. There's some possibility that maybe Cardano doesn't take over Ethereum in this bull cycle, that maybe Cardano is going to hold take the crown in 2025. I still think it's going to do insanely well. So people that got into, whether you used Ethereum as a vehicle to get into Cardano or other positions or whatnot, I still think Ethereum is going to do really well. I think Cardano is going to do very well. How the spread is going to be between the two, I don't know. I would love to see Cardano really catch up and blast up above Ethereum in growth. But a lot of that's going to be really relevant to what gets launched on the blockchain, what improvements, how does Hydra improve performance, throughput, and so forth. Interoperability is a big thing. Plutus is a big thing, but there's so many things that are in play. And so I'm waiting for that. However, when you're thinking about the market and you're seeing this market dip, this crash, this flash crash, if you will, if we look at the past, you can see the pi cycle top indicator has called these market peaks like clockwork. Unfortunately, I wasn't aware of the pi cycle top indicator in 2018, because that would have been really nice to have right around here. But as soon as this orange crosses up above the green, that's it. That's the peak. and we've got a ways to go here. We got this. And like I said, back on this date, if you go back and look at my Twitter, I said this is the first of two peaks. This is the first peak of the market. I was literally getting on a plane to Puerto Rico when this happened. I really wished I could have traded it, but I didn't, which really sucks, because that would have been substantial for me. I left it go. I let it go. There wasn't much I could do. To be quite frank with you, moving to Puerto Rico cost me a hell of a lot more than I think I'm ever going to get out of anything I did there. That's the truth. But it was an adventure. It was fun. It's something we did. I mean, we can say, hey, we lived in Puerto Rico for 6 months. Rah. Met a lot of really cool people, had some good times, but it is what it is. Still selling a property there. Because I tried to do everything that they want you to do for the Act 60, the Act 22, all of that. There are only two things that I don't think I did because I wasn't 100% on, and one of them was setting up a bank account, because they make it really difficult. And on top of that, I just didn't trust the banks. Sorry, I just didn't. And there were just a lot of things there that kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies. And once so many things started to unfold, I'm like, you know what? I just don't feel comfortable with this. Let's go somewhere else. Especially once the mandate started hitting, I'm like, I can't deal with this. This is just too much. But anyway, looking at the past, you see a double market peak here in 2013 into 2014. And I think we're emulating something quite similar in the current market. We had a single peak in 2017 into 2018. We had our first peak here for this bull cycle, and I think we're likely going to end up in June. And what's funny is, if you go all the way back on Bitcoin's logarithmic growth curve, you'll see this is where we are right now. We're like treading water in the center of this logarithmic curve. When was the last time we had a June bull peak? It's all the way down here. All the way in here. You're looking at June 11th, somewhere thereabouts. And I mean, basically it was like the first peak. We're basically going like full circle here. And so, you had the launch of Bitcoin 2009. The first peak was in June, and then things started to take shape. 2013, 2014, we had this double peak bull market. 2017, you can see the spread here got some pretty long. Then we had a peak. Now we move back down into the bottom, and so forth and so on. So it's almost like we've got the peaks of two different market cycles coming together as one. And when I think about, let's just say, when I think about AI, algorithms, all that fun stuff, I just think, and I've said for years and years now, there's something to the automatic price action of Bitcoin. And I think it was designed and I think it was structured in a very specific way to establish a market for itself. Everyone else is tagging along for the ride. I don't know, but that's what I'm seeing. I like looking, I like the pretty lights. But anyway, that's what I'm seeing. So anyway, and I've seen, and I've Benjamin Cowan, I think he's been very, very accurate in him calling, what he expects to play out. I've seen other people where we're looking at potentially a June, of 2022 for the market cycle. The only thing that scares me about that is, what about the clown show going on is going to be changing, just the laws, taxes, all that. Like what is happening? I mean, I feel like we're just getting beat to a pulp, and I don't see any end in sight. I don't even want to talk too much about it because I don't want to get in any trouble, because that's what happens in a tyranny. You can't really say much. You got to keep your mouth shut, your head down, and just obey. I'll do that because I just don't want any bullshit. But, I'm worried about 2022 and what that entails in terms of taxation and how that's going to change, because something tells me it's going to go up. And I honestly, a part of me believes, like, is there, I'm just going to stop right there. I have my own beliefs on what I think is happening, but it is what it is. We're 14 minutes in, 14 and a half. Let's get to some other good stuff. Now I'm going to talk to you guys right now about two metaverses you probably have never heard about. And there's something that I've been seeing a lot of in the market. Actually, before I dive into that, I'm going to cover this real quick. This is Sovereign. they did a paid segment a while back, and I said, hey, I'm happy to like follow up a little bit sometime in the future, remind everybody that you exist. They haven't paid me anything for this follow up. I guess you can consider it maybe an extension, but I'm doing it of my own free will. So they're and they're not giving me anything for this. But SOV token's currently trading at $11.43. It's down like everything else in the market. So it may or may not, it's entirely up to you. Do your own research, but it may be an opportunity to get in while everything is at a bottom. And if you like some of the functionality associated with the token and what you're capable of doing at the live.sovereign.app, check it out. Finance, lend, borrow, yield farm, Bitocracy. You can stake, you've got governance, you've got a discussion forum, rewards, portfolio, oranges. You got a lot of functionality. You can connect your wallet and get started. Deposit Bitcoin by SOV. So that's, I don't personally use any of these, so I don't know a whole lot about what to look for in some of these DeFi staking kind of platforms. It's just not, it's never really been my bag. I'm more of a like buy in on fundamentals, hold, wait for the top kind of thing. But for those of you guys that are into this stuff, you've got some yield farming rewards. You've got a lot of stuff going on. You've got lending, you've got a lot. So check it out if you're interested. I know that the team has definitely been working on pushing it, building functionality, building use case and so forth. Total value locked, 371 Bitcoin, value of almost $18 million locked into this. So, I don't know if that sounds good to you. Check it out. Maybe it's something you want to get into. Maybe not. I don't know. But there you go. Welcome to Sovereign, the decentralized Bitcoin trading and lending platform. So there you go. Now, on to the Metaverses. The Metaverse. So obviously I'm really big into the Metaverse. I love the concept of it. I know we're all going to be, I joke. Where is that? No, that's not it. There. I have what I think my idea of the future is going to look like. It's going to be that right there. We're all going to be plugged into the Metaverse. And we're not going to care. We're not going to care that we're just degenerates plugged into a machine, because we're going to be building cryptocurrencies through play to earn metaverses and, running around in our flashy shoes and our virtual pads. And we're all, it's going to be one of those environments where, even somebody who really doesn't do anything to contribute much to the world around them, they're going to be able to look like superstars, right? And that's what a lot of us want, isn't it? Because we don't want to actually have to do much for anything. You're going to get the opportunity sooner than you think. So anyway, I kid. I know that those of you watching my channel are not like the people I'm joking about, but there are a lot of people out there with their hands out, just wanting to like breathe the air and expect everything to fall in their lap. And if it doesn't, well, then they're going to come after you because they've got nothing else to do. So, this is one called Wilder World. Okay. Now here's the thing. And I see this a lot. I see a lot of games and applications. If you remember back in like 2017 into 2018, there were so many companies that were throwing blockchain into their company names, into their company adverts, whatever, because blockchain was the new like catalyst for insane growth in their stock prices or whatever, right? I think there was even a ketchup company that threw blockchain ketchup, right? And so everybody like, oh, they're adopting blockchain technology to distribute ketchup. This will be good. And like, I think they ended up getting sued for that. And I'm seeing a very similar pattern with Metaverse. I mean, we're seeing all kinds of like card games and all kinds of goofy shit, and they're calling them Metaverse. This isn't Metaverse, folks. Ready Player One, that's Metaverse. That's a Metaverse is an alternative universe by which you can thrive and do a huge variety of lifelike things within a basically an artificial world. and accomplish things and accumulate things and so forth and so on. Basically an alternate reality, whether that's through augmented reality or virtual reality or whatever. That's a metaverse, not a little card game, right? And, you know, that being said, I'm seeing so much crap out there being basically peddled as metaverses, but that are not metaverses. And here's two that I think are, okay? And I think these are a really big deal. I don't have any money invested into either of them, okay? I really wish I did, especially this first one, because this looks sick. And it looks big, and it looks like basically a project with, I don't know if they're related or not, but I'm still learning about this, okay? And I started diving into this days ago. But this, and I found this article on Hacker Noon, which Hacker Noon is such a cool website with so much good information. But thanks to Bart Hillerich, I found this article, and this is how I even discovered it. So Hacker Noon can thank Bart for writing this amazing article, this fantastic write-up on this, and then, you know, leading, you know, YouTubers like myself to his content, which basically started me down a rabbit hole that still has not ended. But anyway, the write-up is fantastic. It's very lengthy, okay? But there are great links in here. Alluvium, there are like team members who's on here, what this is all about, project background. But ultimately, this is something that I suggest you spend an afternoon, read this gentleman's write-up, and then follow the links and join me as we dive down into this rabbit hole of Wilder World, okay? This is the Wilder website. Wilder World, a new dimension of reality. Wilder World is an immersive 5D metaverse built on Ethereum, Unreal Engine 5, and Zero. Now, I started going into like the Zero white paper, which was quite extensive, and I'm thinking, man, there's so much tech here. This is going to take me weeks to really get a grasp on, okay? But this is pretty stinking cool. So you've got cars, you've got a lot of videos and things. The wild price is currently trading at $4.50. All right. Now we're going to take a quick look at that here in a bit too. But right now you can find some NFTs for Wilder World, like shoes, wheels, like cars, cribs, land, which you can't really get yet, which I really want. That's what I'm waiting for. For those of you on the team, hit me up. Love to get my hands on some in Guild. Now you go over here to the Metaverse market, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you've got subdomains that they're offering. I'm assuming for people that are wanting to create worlds within Wilder World, and you want to pick up the domain name or the subdomain for that. That's cool. These are cribs. Now these aren't full-blown buildings, but they're basically like apartments inside of high-rise properties, right? And if you look at them here, apparently I am not seeing any finished auctions yet. I'm seeing bids. Bidding for this one is 690 wild, basically about $2,822. Wilder.cribs is our Genesis real estate release in Wilder World, consisting of 108 unique procedurally generated NFT luxury condos spread across 39 floors, reaching up into the Miami heavens. That's kind of the thing about Wilder World is instead of Miami, it's Wyami. Everything starts with a W, right? Which I think is actually pretty funny. I would love one of these. I want some land. I mean, basically, when the time comes, there are going to be full buildings. There's going to be a lot of different opportunity here. And I really want to get in on this. I really want to get in on a full-blown metaverse from the ground, okay? This could be one I really, really dive into because... And I know that this isn't an all, you got to read this. I mean, you got to read this article. Mimic reality as close as possible. Persistence. There's one single global game state that all players experience simultaneously within the metaverse. In real life, if I were to leave a football at a park, I would still be there until another person eventually came and moved it. If a building were to burn down in a different country and I were to visit it a week later, it would still be burned down when I see it. It's the same in Z space. When events occur, all players experience the same thing. Persistent universes that's a big deal in a lot of games like EVE Online and things like that. I would almost classify EVE Online as one of the first real metaverses. I mean, that is the fact that they're not on the blockchain, and I don't know if they ever tried, but man, if they were to add a first person's perspective, basically an ability to like do other stuff outside of just blow up each other's ships, I think EVE has such a phenomenal platform for like one of those really dark, dystopian, like screw your neighbor kind of atmospheres that I think a lot of people would really take to. Photorealism, characters, landscapes, objects, and interactions between users look and feel as close to real life as is technologically possible. We're not talking good. We're not just talking AAA quality. We're talking as great as possible with today's current available technology. This is where I think a lot of the technology from like these cloud-based processing systems come into play. Being able to utilize huge farms of processing power to create some of these and process some of these virtual worlds, these metaverses, massively multiplayer, mixed reality, distributed Z space, similar to Bitcoin, will be hosted and maintained by a distributed community using cryptographic incentives with no central intermediary. That's key. That stuff is key to me. When you're talking about a blockchain-based metaverse, I want it decentralized. I want it. I've even thought recently, I was talking to my wife and I said, listen, with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, what if there is some cyber attack that we don't know is coming, but just might happen? And it shuts down all communication so that, I don't know, certain people can't do certain things to like protect themselves against, I don't know, some, I don't know, whatever happens, right? And I'm thinking to myself, an EMP blast, that would take out all communications. Nobody could organize. Nobody could defend themselves. It would be very, very challenging. And so when I think about stuff like this, I think, a distributed, like a peer-to-peer network, like a true peer-to-peer network with a bunch of people running solar panels and stuff like that, that could make a lot of things possible. And ultimately, when you're talking about ushering in a new era of finance through digital tokens and the like, I'm not saying that it would help force that type of atmosphere, but it would sure push it along out of necessity rather than, just people kind of sort of like, oh, that looks cool, but it looks really complicated. I think I'll wait until it gets easier. You're not going to have a choice because this is the new age. So I don't know. Again, I'm a little nutty. I think all kinds of crazy stuff. Doesn't mean it's going to be true. Step 3, decentralized and distributed architecture, open source hardware. This is different than every other current metaverse project. There's so much to this and it just really doesn't end. This article was so good, but I wanted to basically point this to you guys because if you're not familiar, you got to check it out. If you look at Axie Infinity, Decentraland, I would classify as a metaverse. The Sandbox, I would kind of classify Sandbox as a metaverse, more of an MMORPG, if I'm honest. Star Atlas, I'm not even sure what that is. I have to look at that. I thought Star Atlas is like just a multiplayer game by Bethesda. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's Starlink. I don't remember. Wilder World, and then UFO Gaming. Somebody else was telling me about UFO Gaming. I haven't even looked at that yet. So anyway, check this out. The stuff is pricey. Some of these cars are going for like 6 figures. The digital renditions of a Lamborghini is like 120 grand in Ethereum right now. Okay, so that to me is absolutely nuts. Especially for a platform that isn't even really much of anything but a concept and some well thought out words. But, to each their own. We'll see. How much is a Lamborghini going to be worth when this thing actually launches? And here's the other side to this too. Let's just say, hypothetically, I really want this. I'm digging that. That's my style right there. But let's just say that the peak of this market is in 2022. Let's just call it June. But these things, these aren't even going to launch alphas, right? Until after that, way after that. I mean, we're talking years of development here. This is all 2025 type stuff. What's happening right now in terms of people buying land, buying assets, buying shoes, and wasting money on that, they're paying top dollar even at the entry point. Why? Because when all of this stuff crashes to the floor at the peak of the market cycle, and Ethereum's no longer worth 4,000 or even let's say we peak out at $10,000 Ethereum, and it comes all the way back down to, $1,000. Maybe that's the new bottom for Ethereum coming, as we move into. So rather than it being $10,000, you're talking about $1,000. If something. So what I'm saying is, let's say something is one Ethereum, right? I can buy a pair of really cool shoes for one Ethereum. Well, right now it's like $4,000. Let's say Ethereum peaks out at 10 grand. Am I going to pay $10,000 for a pair of freaking Wikes in a metaverse today when I can wait most likely until the peak of the market? Basically, if I sell at the peak, right, into cash, I let the price fall, I buy back in now, I can basically buy this stuff for $1,000 instead of $10,000 or $4,000. You see what I'm saying? And when you're talking about the development cycles of a metaverse, we've got years. So I can wait. I'm not in any big hurry, but I am going to be keeping my eyes out and keeping my eyes open for this stuff. But anyway, Wilder World's currently trading at 4.23, and it really does look fantastic. So we'll see. I mean, look at this. This Wilder World, Wilder Wheels Chadness. I don't even know what that is. This thing is 20 Ethereum. $83,797. At least that's what they're trying to get for it. Yeah, I mean, nobody's buying it, but they're trying. And I'm just like, guys, come on. We got to get more realistic here. Nobody's spending $84,000 on some freaking car in a metaverse that doesn't technically even really exist yet. I'm more interested in land personally than buying a car. I want something that's actually going to appreciate, not just make me look cool, but that's, whatever. What's happening on Zero? A lot of stuff is happening on Zero. Check that out. Now, number 2, because this is 32 minutes in. I've been dragging that out long enough. This is Alphaverse. This looks fantastic, sort of, in the sense that they've got a partnership with David Guetta. It's play to earn, all that stuff. There's a partnership apparently with Atari, but the website looks a little gonzo. I mean, for something that should be really blowing my skirt back, this isn't it. It looks cool, but whoever is doing the marketing for this sucks. I'm just telling you straight up, you suck. Okay, you should quit. Let somebody else take over that knows more about what they're doing. My guess, based off of what I've seen from this, it's like 2 or 3 people, and like one guy is wearing 20 different hats. He doesn't really know. They're not paying me, so I can say exactly. This is my thought. I mean, this is because they are trying to charge outrageous sums for. And I'll show you some things, but the Atari token currently is trading at 8 cents. Now they do have a charity thing that's going on right now. And so maybe that's why they're charging insane prices for stuff. But you've got to build to a point. Like if you're going to sell a piece of land for $8,000, you got to give me a reason to make it worth it. You haven't done anything yet. Alphaverse, you look interesting, but your website's not that great. And it sounds great in concept. But so far, it's like, oh, we've got David Guetta, and here's our Alphaverse beat, Alphaverse land, Alphaverse the hub. We've got all this stuff. I want to buy some land. What can I buy? Let's take a look. Alphaverse the hub. All I can buy are these little apartments, and it's cool. But I can hire somebody to model this in like, I don't know, an hour, and then like be like, hey, buy land. Right. So I don't know. I don't know 100% how I feel about Alphaverse yet. I don't want them to be I don't want them to think I'm hating. but I'm just not seeing anything fantastic that's going to basically make some of this property worth the price they're trying to charge. And, you know, the alpha first beat, like these high rise apartment flats or whatever. I mean, that's cool. You know, 0.25, 0.24 Ethereum, nothing that's going to significantly break the bank, but are you actually getting the property for those prices right now? That's $1,000. You get a virtual flat and beat high rise building number 5, yada, yada, yada. You know, it looks like people are actually paying that sum because that's a little more realistic. It's a little more fair. But some of these properties, man, they're throwing a buy it now sticker of like, you know, $8,000 or more. And that's just insane. You have nothing to really show, and your website's not even that fantastic, to be honest. Let's start, you know, let's start from the bottom and work up. Let's build some clout, some credibility outside of like we partner with Atari. That all sounds good, but it's not paying the bills. Atari tokens currently trading at 8 cents. I love the idea. You know, check it out, you know, dive into it. There's not an abundance of information other than the Alphaverse will open in summer of 2022. Register now. And then if you click news, that's it. That's what you got. So, I mean, whoever's handling this stuff really sucks and like building hype and momentum, to be quite honest. Let's go to the Twitter account and see how many millions of followers they have from the 2,450. Oh, see what I'm saying? So like if this is to be taken seriously, I mean, even some of the rendered artwork looks really bad. So I'm hesitant. I've got my eye on this, but I'm a little hesitant. My money right now is with Wilder World, and I think they're going to accomplish some pretty cool stuff, but we'll see. Now, this isn't necessarily to me a metaverse. I'm just going to be honest, okay? This to me is an insanely complicated strategy game that has basically taken the world and made it a hex map. This is one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. The beauty of this is, and I'm going to be diving deeper into this. Why? Because I went after this team and I said, I think this is freaking brilliant. I want in, I want involved, I want land, I want to play this thing, I want to create, I want to take over the world in Eartha. And they said, okay, let's work something out. So we're still finalizing. But I'm looking, I've got my eye on this spot right here. Why? Because, well, it's Miami. I mean, you know, everything cool happens in Miami. But I've got a seaport and an airport here. Okay, and then like 8% of some rock. All right, whoop-de-doo. Don't care about the rock. But when I look into this, there's a lot of activity that's going to be taking place here. An airport, a seaport. I mean, that to me is like, so, and you're thinking, but why does that matter, Crow? Why do you care? It's a picture. It's a lot more than a picture, my friends. Eartha token and Eartha land NFTs, buy land and buy, rent, and sell land hexes, earn Eartha tokens from taxes. Now, I'm not even 100% sure what all I can say, but I had a video chat with Linus and a video chat with, where is he? Well, he's not in here. Maybe the other guy was new. I think he was helping with some marketing or something. But anyway, had a chat with Linus. We had a great time, had a great talk. They showed this to me, like in video, in real time. And I think this is even the outdated. They've got an enhanced version of the UI, enhanced version of everything. But this is basically a game. It's a deep strategy game that utilizes tokens for purchases of property, lands, assets, different things that are going to help you in basically your global takeover. Okay. And develop your plots to increase their value, extract and sell plot resources to the market. Where'd you go? Website, where'd you go? We went through so much stuff, and I'm like, this is going to be, if you like 4D 4D sci-fi games, Civilization is basically something like this, but like with Civilization's very watered down. This gets super minute in terms of, management, what you can do. it's almost like you're playing God in a sense on a global scale. And, there are very specific strategies that you can establish within this universe, how you utilize your land, partnerships and alliances that you create for basically world domination. If somebody takes over a territory within the space, they can ultimately change the tax rates and things for different goods and services that other people are needing to utilize to empower themselves for whatever their strategies are. It's very, very deep. It's very, very cool. And these guys have been working on this for quite a long time. These guys have been working on this game for years. Check out their white paper. I'm going to be touching base on this again. 29,000 people in their Telegram, 17,500 on Discord. Check it out. I think if you're into really deep strategy, I think you're really gonna dig this, especially when you see what I've seen. I don't own any of it yet. I don't own anything. They haven't given me anything. I'm just very excited about getting involved with this project. And I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time updating people on my strategy and my global takeover in Eartha. So we'll have to see how that all goes. But listen, folks, have fun in your metaverses. Have fun doing what you're doing. I wouldn't stress the market right now. Listen, everything and anything is absolutely possible in the crypto space right now. So I'm not saying that I know 100% what's coming. It could be really ugly for a little while, but something tells me we're going to start seeing a very bright light sometime this month as we move into the new year. I hope so. But I know I'm not budging. I'm not selling. I'm not moving. And that's really all I have to say about that. I mean, people want to ask me, Crow, what are you doing? Are you selling? Are you dumping? No, I'm not. I'm not. Not until, honestly, the Pi cycle top indicator is one of my biggest things that I reference all the time. We've got such a ways to go. I'm just not, look at this spread here. We've got a very significant spread. And I don't think it's going to close. It's going to close somewhere up here, somewhere over here. And until then, I'm just not going to worry so much about the ebbs and flows because we've seen them so many times. Let's take one quick look at a weekly. This is the last market. This is 2017 as we peaked up. Now this is a weekly chart. Each weekly candle was up, right? And now we've got some weekly candles that are down. So that doesn't look fun. But I think as long as we can hold here, I think we should be fine. But again, I don't know. We had this peak here, and even in this run up, we had some white candles moving into that. And also at the same time, we didn't have a lot going on. We didn't have as much going on back then as we did here. That's 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, 5 weeks. This was 5 weeks leading into the peak of the market. But if you look before that, we had white candles. It happens. Moving on up. So, it's ebbs and flows, folks. I don't know what else to say other than it's ebbs and flows. It looks nasty. It doesn't look fun. It's not fun, especially if you're somebody that's bought in. But if you think about it, November, what do we got? We're at December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So we've got 6 months. So, we've got some time. Hold on a minute here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're looking at May. Where were we in May? This is probably about where we are. Yeah, that's March, May, no, April. Yeah, this was May of 2017. Volume was low. We didn't have all of these leverage instruments in play. We didn't have all of these. We didn't have any ETFs. We didn't have a lot of stuff that's allowing like Wall Street and major whales to significantly manipulate the market one way or the other, which is one of the reasons why I think things are kind of getting longer. But it is what it is. And if this is similar and then we peak out in June, we could very well be looking at something just like this, It's going to take us a little while longer to get there. And unfortunately, we're going to have to suffer through some ebbs and flows in the meantime. So I'm not freaking out. I'm not too worried. I do think about it a lot. Don't think I'm invincible. Don't think I'm Mr. Diamond Hands. I mean, I'm not selling. I did sell some to give myself kind of a nest egg, so to speak, should things go bad, because you just never know. And I'm not even necessarily just talking about the market as the market is. I'm talking about just anything in the world. I mean, I don't know. So, always try to be careful, try to be cautious, use your bet. Don't go mortgaging your house. Let's go try and like buy a bunch of crypto thinking it's going to peak in a week or two. Just be cautious, be smart about things. Don't ever invest more than you can afford to lose, just in case. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, until next time, guys, grow your coins. Maybe, I don't know. I think we're going to be fine. We just have to be patient. We're just in the middle, so don't freak out. Don't freak out too much. I want to see us in a peak, like this peak, that peak, that peak. Not these little mid-range peaks that don't really mean a whole hell of a lot in the grand scheme of things. I think we're going to be up. We'll be up in here above the $100,000 Bitcoin mark. Grow your coins, folks. Enjoy your afternoon.